Hello and welcome back to another episode of the sketch series. Today I'm going to be looking at Starfox. And I've actually done a few different concept sketches for this. I'm working out on something, so I'm just showing you here a couple of the concept art pages that I've drawn. I've actually drawn quite a few. Um, I've realized that if you're working on a character or you want to work on something longer term, like a project, you really want to be showing off uh, some real knowledge of the character. So being able to do lots of different positions and lots of different shapes and sizes is always very important. The first three that I showed were all of one type of Starfox face, and now I'm going to be showing you how I do another type. Basically, I came up with a concept and I kind of like it, but I want to refine it and maybe a little bit more, make it my own. So I'm going to make it a little bit more cartoony, a little bit more stylized. And I'm going to start off here with the pencil sketch, which is what we're doing here. You can kind of see me working out, especially working the foot. The looks like it's the foot on the left there. I didn't like the original position I had, so I decided to rework it and then kind of fix the foot on the right to match it. And then I stopped to think about, what do I want these arms to be doing? 'Cause sometimes I throw things down and I don't really realize, like, wait a second, what do I want this character to be doing again? So I just spent a little bit of time trying to figure that out before I threw down any lines. Um, of course, he's a cartoon, so he's not going to have 5 fingers, so I'm not really worried about the hand too much in accuracy or in anything like that. He's got a big gun there, his blaster, and then a couple of the basic features. And again, I am working on this sketch, and you can kind of see it's very loose, even though I'm gesturing in where the jacket is, where the scarf is, where the belt goes. I'm not really being too detailed about what I want here, what I want there. For example, I'm not really worried about the face too much, or the details of the jacket, or the details of the vest, or any of that really. I'm just kind of focusing on getting the broad strokes down. And now that I've done that, I'm going to throw in my inks on top of this. So I'm going to start off with a basic 0.3 multi-liner pen. I think it's the Le pen, L-E pen. I don't know how to say that. And I'm just going to throw down all the inks across this character. Again, the camera is right on top of the image, so it makes it a little bit rough for me to get to all the positions I need to get to. So if my hand covers part of the drawing, I apologize for that. But here I'm just gesturing in a little bit more detail and with a little bit more refinement, all the things that I really want to focus on in this drawing. So the details of the jacket, and here I'm working on the vest and the belt. And what I wanted to do with this sketch was kind of shrink Fox down, because my original concepts were kind of a little bit elongated, so he looked tall, and I want him to be kind of shorter. But I also wanted to do a different color scheme and kind of give him a different color and a different feel, a little bit more jagged edges and a few more specific shapes, and kind of see where it goes from that. And here I'm working on the legs and the boots. I'm not going with the whole mechanical leg thing that I think he has in the original game. And here's just the big fluffy tail. And now I'm going to be working on the last arm here with the gun. I always have a hard time with guns, so if you saw at the beginning, one of the pages was essentially just a lot of guns everywhere. So here I'm working on that and just trying to get through all the pieces, make sure everything's there, and then I'll probably spend a few minutes here trying to figure out, okay, well, oh, here I'm at the bottom, I'm sorry, I'm putting in the shadows, which you can't see on the camera, but once you show the image, you'll see the shadow. And then, of course, the holster for the gun, which I realize he probably should be right-handed with the gun, and I drew him as left-handed. There you can kind of see the shadows, and I'm going to be using a new Le pen. This is a brush pen. My other one kind of doesn't work. It's ruined so many drawings for me at this point that I'm reluctant to use it. How do I feel about this new pen? It's a little bit thicker than I would like. I wish there was a little bit of a thinner brush pen. Maybe I'll have to try a few other brands or a few other types. I really like the lead pen multi-liners, but I'm not a big fan of their brush pen. It's not the greatest thing in the world. I'll just say that. I feel like the thins are not thin enough, and the thicks are too thick. So overall, I feel like the brush is a little bit too sensitive, too thick, or maybe I'm just that terrible with it. And here I'm just throwing down some basic outlines over the whole drawing, and then I'm going to go in and kind of do a little bit of outlining on top of, like you see there, some areas where one thing lays on top of another. And I try not to be too heavy-handed with that and just kind of leave it, gesture that stuff in, and leave it up to the colors to do the rest. So here I'm adding in some details here and there, and a few pieces, key pieces, like where the brow furls over the eye, all that kind of stuff. And next we're going to be moving on to colors, so I threw up the colors that I'm going to be using here today, and these are there are the colors there. This is for the fur. I like to do two tones for Fox, so he has his snout and parts of his tail will have one type of fur, and then the rest of him will have another type. And I realize he's a fox and he probably should have a big plushy tail all the same color. This is kind of making him look a little bit too much like a raccoon, and I'm really trying to get away from that image. So I'm trying to find a style and a look that really pulls him away from that. And I think I'm going to do a few more on my own, of course, not record them, but a few more ventures into some exploration as to what I want with this character. Eventually I would like to use a character like this for maybe a comic or something. That would be really cool, but we'll see. Anyway, I threw up some more colors that I'm going to be using here to color the rest of his fur. In this video I use a lot of colors because one of the things that I want to work on is my color composition, and I realized after this video that I am terrible at color composition. Here I'm going to be throwing in some grays. I'm going to basically give him a lot of gray textures and a lot of gray, almost leathery textures for a lot of his parts. The boots there, I guess the power boots, I don't know what you would call those, the belt, and a couple different areas, and kind of just trying to gesture in where the shadowy parts are and where the reflected or ambient light would be, and then take it from there. Next I'm going to be throwing in some darker grays to really accent that highlight, and just go from there. You can kind of see this is the kind of stuff that I do usually when I do my Copics or my marker sketches. And then once I've done all that, I'm going to throw in some color, and I decided to go with an orange accent and just kind of do, I guess my color scheme idea originally was orange and green and gray, and then when I thought about it I thought, I don't know if that even goes. So then I decided to throw in a blue as like an intermediate color, and I'm not sure how I feel about the coloring of the color composition of this piece. But so far I've thrown in the lightest green there. I think that's citrus. Is that what it says? I don't remember. And we're going to throw in a few more dark greens just to give that the shadow of the jacket laying on top of that vest. And then once I've done that, here's the part where I start to think. At this point I realized I have no idea what color to make his actual suit. So I decided to go back with the gray and really kind of make it all gray and then add a blue overtone to it. But I feel like the blue that I used for the overtone was too rich, too much hue. It was too much blue. I should have used a more subtle blue, maybe a darker blue. I don't even know. This is more of a sky blue or turquoise blue, and I feel like it popped a bit too much. I just wanted a smooth accent, and it ended up taking over. So at that point I realized maybe I should go over it with a darker gray, and just to kind of give it that feel of, yeah, it's blue, but it shouldn't be that much. And this is the point where I started working on the background shape. You kind of see that rectangle back there, and I'm just throwing in a nice shade that complements the, I was going to say skin tone, but it would be fur tones, I guess, and works with that. And then at this point, I'm adding in my white highlights on the eyes, a couple places here and there, especially on the shiny parts of the jacket and the gun. I don't really do a lot of shiny or white reflections on fur. I feel like hair absorbs a lot of that, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to show you guys the image overall. And I'm kind of happy with it. I feel like it turned out pretty well. Here's the scanned image. And when you compare it to the original that I had, I like the color palette on the original one more. It's more like Starfox. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll have more soon.